Hey guys, so today we're going to be taking a look at the Osprey Farpoint 40, which is one of the most popular travel backpacks that I've seen. Every time I'm traveling abroad, I always see tons of these all over the place. The company has a really great reputation for making durable and comfortable travel backpacks, and I've had a few requests to feature them on the channel. So I reached out to the company to see if they had a unit I'd be able to test out, and so far I have been very impressed. I can definitely understand why this is such a go-to backpack for serious travelers. It's durable and well made. The harness system is fantastic. It has tons of space and some nice organizational options. And on top of that, it's a pretty reasonable price. So just a really solid all-around bag for anybody who's looking to be on the road long term. And I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So I want to thank the company for sending the bag for me to test out. And let's just jump in and take a closer look at the Osprey Farpoint 40. Starting out with the outside of the bag, this definitely has a very technical look and feel to it. I imagine that when people think of a travel backpack, this is one of the first things that comes to mind. And that makes sense given the popularity of the Farpoint line of backpacks. As I mentioned in the intro, everywhere I go when I travel, I typically see a bunch of these bags, which gives me an impression of the durability of the bag, and it just feels like a bag that serious travelers would use. And aesthetically, this is very different from the bags that I typically like to travel with. I like a bag that looks more like a normal backpack and that blends in a little bit better into the city. But if you don't really care about a backpack's look, this is definitely gonna be fine. The bag is offered in a few different colors. They have it in a red. This is kind of a volcanic gray here, which I really liked. As far as the materials, the bag has kind of a mixture of a diamond ripstop nylon and a 600D pack cloth, so it feels really durable. It does come in at 3.5 pounds, which is pretty heavy, but when you compare that to something like the Aer Travel Pack 2, I feel like this offers a lot more padding and support without making the bag much heavier. On top of that, the materials also feel like they're going to offer a good amount of weather resistance, and the bag has pretty nice zippers all around. I don't think they're YKK, but they also seem to have a fair amount of covering to help keep your bag protected if you happen to get caught in some rain. As far as the capacity, the version that I have here is about 40 liters. They do have a slightly smaller version that is closer to 38 liters. And I feel like this offers plenty of space for traveling for many weeks on end, and it does feel like something that you should be able to carry on to most airlines. I've traveled a lot on Ryanair and EasyJet, and I typically saw people with these bags get on just fine. With that being said, I do feel that this is right on the edge of what I would be comfortable carrying on with, and because this isn't as slim of a bag, if you get a gate agent who's a little bit stricter, they may be more tempted to have you weigh the bag or just check it if it doesn't fit into one of those metallic racks. So pretty nice size overall. This does stick out a little more than the bags that I typically like to wear, so I would be a little bit more cautious if I was jumping onto a train or a bus or something and turning around and maybe bopping into people. But for the most part, it's not too cumbersome. It still feels like it'd be pretty easy to get up into an overhead storage compartment. And then speaking of placing this in an overhead compartment, the bag does have two well-padded handles on the outside, one on the side and one at the top. And I really like how these have been implemented. They have a nice amount of padding. This mesh lining here is very comfortable to hold. They're nice and thick, and they feel really sturdy for lifting this up even when it's full. The one on the side is going to allow you to carry this like a briefcase if you need to, although the bag does get pretty heavy when it's completely full, so I probably wouldn't imagine carrying it like this for a longer period of time. One thing that I thought was pretty interesting is that the bag has these two plastic clips on the side and an included shoulder strap, which allow you to use the bag as a shoulder bag if you don't want to carry it like a backpack. I'm not entirely sure why you'd want to use this as opposed to the backpack straps, which are very comfortable. And the shoulder strap that's included here isn't really that great. It doesn't have any sort of padding. It's just a very simple strap. But if you have a preference for carrying a bag like this and maybe you don't want the shoulder straps to just get snagged on something, this might be a good alternative for carrying the bag for shorter periods of time. Continuing along the outside, because this is a more technical bag, it does have some nice straps and attachment points. At the top, it just has a few different places where you might be able to attach something with a carabiner. One of my favorite new travel accessories is my Matador Nano Dry Towel that comes with this nice carabiner, so I can hook this onto the outside for easy carrying. This might also be a good spot to hook on my Beat Studio wireless headphones if they don't fit inside of the bag. And then on the front, the bag has two elastic compartments that you can use for something like a water bottle. Currently what I have in here is the same water bottle that you've seen in all my other travel bag videos, and that fits in there pretty comfortably. It's interesting to have these on the front as opposed to the sides, as we've seen with many other bags, but they work pretty well. They have a decent amount of depth. This might also be a good spot to put something like an umbrella. And then there's also two compression straps on the front, which are going to be great for holding something like a yoga mat or for just compressing the bag down if it's not as full to make it a little bit slimmer. If you have something taller like a tripod that you'd like to keep in these elastic compartments, the compression straps will also help with that. And so before jumping into the straps and the back paneling, one interesting thing is you can actually hide them away if you do need to end up checking the bag, or if, as I showed earlier, you want to carry it like a shoulder bag. Most of the time though, I imagine these will be out because the straps that the bag has are really great, but it's nice to see that you can give it a little bit of a cleaner look. If you do have to check it, it's going to prevent the straps from getting caught on anything. And then whenever I want to get the straps out, it's very easy to open this up and roll it up. And so this flap is pretty long, so it might take a little while to roll it up, and then you want to be really careful as you're tucking it away so that it doesn't press up against your lower back awkwardly, but I haven't had too many issues. The strap hasn't fallen out, although I do wish there was some way to secure it a little bit better. And then jumping into the straps and the back paneling, this is really where the bag excels. It's very comfortable to wear even when you're carrying a lot of weight. The straps are really nicely padded. They have a nice meshy material to help prevent moisture from building up. They're soft. They also have a really nice width to prevent them from digging into your shoulders when you're wearing the bag with a lot of weight. On top of that, they have load lifters at the top to help further customize how the bag sits on your back. And then they also have an adjustable and removable sternum strap to just add that extra bit of support. Moving on to the back paneling, there's a really nice foam padding here with the same meshy material that we saw on the straps. There isn't a lot of elevation, so I would have liked to have seen some gaps or ridges here to help provide just a little bit more airflow, but for the most part this has still been really comfortable. The bag has a really great suspension system and frame that helps distribute the weight very well down into the waist straps. And then the integrated waist belt that's included here with the bag is fantastic. It's very comfortable and well padded. It reminds me a lot of the waist belts that we've seen on the Tortuga set out line of bags. And because they're so well integrated with the back paneling of the backpack, they really feel like they're offering a lot of additional support as opposed to a lot of other bags where it still feels like the weight is really resting on your shoulders. So just a really great job on the harness system overall. This is definitely one of the most comfortable travel backpacks that I've used, and I can definitely see this being a huge reason why this has become so popular. Jumping into the organizational options of the bag, I really like how the pockets have been laid out. Before jumping in, I'll go ahead and release the compression straps just to make it a little bit easier to get inside of the bag. At the top, there is one very simple quick access compartment that has a nice amount of space. I really like how the flap comes over the zipper to help keep it protected from rain or even from pickpockets. This is the only compartment on the bag that's not lockable, so it is somewhere where you want to be a little bit more careful. And it's just going to be an area where you can get in and out quickly for items that you need to reach a lot while you're on the go. And so jumping into what I currently have in here, first off, I have a lightning cable to charge my phone, and then I have my sunglasses with their case, then I have my GoPro Hero 3 Plus, and then I also have my BluePop portable Bluetooth speaker and power bank. And even with those items in there, there was still some leftover space. This is a very spacious compartment. As you can see here, I can fit both of my hands, making it very easy to just toss in a bunch of stuff. This is gonna be a great spot to put my phone or wallet while I'm going through TSA. And I really like the bright green lining on the inside, which makes it very easy to find whatever I need quickly. Besides that, there's no sort of internal organization, and this lining is kind of soft, but I wouldn't say it's fleece lined or anything like that. This might also be a great spot to put some of your toiletries if you need to take them out while you're going through airport security. So lots of space and flexibility here. Love how useful this compartment has been. Next up, there is a lockable admin area where you could store your laptop. So taking my lock off, this opens up pretty wide. It doesn't open completely flat, but it makes it pretty easy to get in. You can pull the flap up pretty high. And so I like how much space is left over here. This is one of the benefits of traveling with a larger bag. And so I haven't really put that much stuff in here. As you know, I like to travel with pouches. I don't really like to leave things loose. And there's not a lot of small compartments in here for smaller accessories, which is why I have my in-case accessory pouch. This is where I have some of my dongles and cables and chargers and things like that. And then I also have my Aer travel kit, which is my DOP kit of choice. And even with those items in there was plenty of leftover space if I wanted to toss in something like a jacket or an additional pair of shoes. This compartment is pretty deep. It goes down almost all the way to the bottom of the bag, so plenty of space. And then on the back of the compartment, there is a simple zippered mesh compartment to hold any accessories that you don't want floating around. This might be a good spot to put something like a tablet or your Kindle. It's not really padded. It does have kind of a soft, meshier material. It's a little bit thicker than some of the other mesh that we've seen, but I still wouldn't say that this is that padded. And so currently what I have in here is just smaller accessories like a Field Notes notebook, and then I also have a stylus, and then I also have my USB-C hub for my Touch Bar MacBook Pro. So a very simple and useful compartment, no internal organization here. This goes down pretty deep as well. So if you have a larger tablet, it should be able to fit in here okay. And then behind that, you have a very simple laptop sleeve that has this nice Velcro flap to help prevent the laptop from falling out when you're laying the bag down. And so this should be able to hold up to a 15-inch laptop. Currently what I have in here is my 13-inch MacBook Pro. And so this sleeve isn't really that padded. It is a pretty soft material, but it just doesn't feel like it offers that much protection. And then a really interesting thing about this is that it's not close to my back. So this really does tend to pull the weight forward just a little bit more than I would see with some of the backpacks that have the laptop compartment right on your back. So interesting choice there. Of course, this isn't the type of bag that I would see somebody who's more of a digital nomad using, just because there's not that much organization and protection for your tech. Pulling the laptop out, you can get a better look at the inside. No sort of fleece lining here. There is a little bit of padding here, but for the most part, this is just a very simple area to keep your laptop easy to find. One nice thing is that it is elevated off the bottom of the ground due to the placement here, so it is gonna be pretty protected if you do happen to drop your bag or place it down a little bit harder. The last area that we're gonna be taking a look at is the main compartment, which also has a lockable zipper, and I really like how the flap comes over the zipper. So this is the flap that's attached to the compression strap, so it adds that extra bit of protection from pickpockets, and it also covers this zipper really well to help protect against the weather, especially because this doesn't really have that much protection on its own. The teeth of the zippers are pretty exposed as opposed to the ones that are closer to the outside. But with this flap, I really don't think that'll be a big deal. And so opening this compartment up, it opens pretty flat to make it easier to pack out. Plenty of space in this 40-liter bag. And I really like the simple layout that the main compartment has, which we'll see in a second. But the first thing I'll mention is that because this is a larger bag and it's a little bit bulkier, you'll definitely want to pack some sort of a smaller day bag. What I currently have in here is the Aer Go Pack, which is one of my favorites. This would have also easily fit the Tortuga Outbreaker Day Pack, so I've just been switching up between the two. And so the items that I have here are the same items that you've seen in all my other travel bag videos. As you can see, there's even a little bit of leftover space if I had wanted to store my DOP kit in here or maybe taken an extra pair of shoes. And so jumping into what I currently have here, I have my flatter pair of Penguin sneakers. Then I also have my Toms, which I take with me on pretty much every trip. And then on the inside of the bag, there's a few compression straps to help keep everything in its place and to also just get a little bit more space out of the main area. And so opening this first one up, I just have my smaller packing cube that have my underwear and socks and smaller clothing items. And then I also have the medium-sized Peak Design compressible packing cube, which I've been testing out. And this holds all the same items that my other larger double-sided packing cube has. And that one actually fits in this compartment very well. Now with the main compartment a little bit empty, you can get a better feel for the space. Very simple layout. Besides these compression straps, there's no additional zippered compartments or anything like that. So just giving you a lot of space and flexibility to organize everything the way that makes the most sense. And then on the other side of the main compartment, there's just a very simple mesh zippered compartment that's a little bit larger. There's plenty of space here. This might be a good spot to put something like a jacket or some dirty clothes, or even some of your smaller clothing items that you want to separate out and find easier, like your socks and underwear. Typically, I don't end up using these compartments too much because I put everything in the packing cubes, but it's still nice to have the option to separate things out a little bit. And then because of the use of the mesh, it's very easy to see what's in this compartment. So just a really great job in this main compartment with the simple layout and space, and with the organization throughout the rest of the bag. It's very easy to pack out. It can hold a bunch. It's very impressive how comfortable it is while wearing it with a lot of weight. And if you're looking for a versatile travel backpack and you're unsure where to start, this is definitely going to be one of the best options to take a look at. And so to wrap up, it's been a really good experience testing out the Osprey Farpoint 40. I have to say I had pretty high expectations for the bag given how popular it is, and it really didn't disappoint. It's very well made, it's super comfortable, it has plenty of space and some nice organizational options, as well as a reasonable price point. And so you can purchase this on Osprey's site for about $160. You may be able to find it for a little bit less at around $135 from resellers on Amazon, but on Osprey's site it is going to be around $160, which I think is a pretty reasonable price considering the features and quality that the bag have. On top of that, I think this price compares well to a lot of the other similar travel bags that we featured on the channel. As I was testing this out, the first bag that this reminded me of was the Tortuga Set Out 35 liter, which we featured pretty recently on the channel. Of the travel bags that we've tested out, that's the one that comes closest in terms of comfort and support to this. That bag has a really great harness system, a great waist belt, plenty of space. It comes in at a similar price point, a little bit more expensive at around $180. I feel like they have a similar build quality. That one feels like it might be a little bit lighter, but for the most part, the two bags are very similar. The next bag this made me think of was the Aer Travel Pack 2, which is still kind of my all-around favorite travel backpack. I really like how the organization is laid out in that bag. I like the look. It has plenty of space. It's a little bit smaller than this one, coming in at 33 liters, and it's not going to be quite as comfortable as this bag. And just the overall aesthetic is very, very different. So for most people who just want a very reliable and comfortable travel backpack, something like the Osprey Farpoint 40 is going to be a fantastic option. But if you're more like me and you like a bag that blends into the city a little bit more and that doesn't look so much like a traveler's backpack, the Aer Travel Pack 2 is going to be one of the best options to check out. Another bag this made me think of was the Nomadic Travel Bag, which has been one of my favorite larger travel bags to use over the past year or so. That bag has tons of space. It's a similar size to this, coming in at 40 liters, and it has some great organizational options, a very nice waist belt, and that comes in at around $220, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive, and it doesn't have quite as much comfort as this. But if you prefer to travel more with a duffel, or you just want something that's a little bit simpler to organize and that has maybe a little bit more weather resistant, I definitely recommend checking out the Nomadic Travel Bag as well. Another solid travel bag that we featured that reminded me a little bit of this bag is the Standard Luggage Co. Travel Backpack. And that is a very well built travel bag that has some nice organizational options, plenty of space. It has the ability to expand and compress, so if you need a little bit of extra space. It comes in at around $190, which is a little more expensive than this, but I do feel that the build quality and materials used on that are better. So if you're looking for another bag that has a simpler style and a lot of space and more organizational options, the Standard Luggage Co. Travel Backpack will also be a great option to keep in mind. The last option that I'll mention here is the Heinz Eagle 44-liter travel backpack, which we checked out pretty recently. That is a very spacious and lightweight travel backpack. It has a pretty solid build quality, and it comes in at under $100, making it a really versatile option for anybody who's on a tighter budget and looking for a bag with a little bit of extra space and tons of great organizational options. But with all that being said, the Osprey Farpoint 40 travel backpack holds up really well against all of those bags. I've been really impressed with how comfortable and versatile it is, and I can definitely understand why the bag has been so popular for so long. And if you're interested in starting to travel with one bag and you're not really sure where to start, this is probably going to be one of the best options that's available. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys think of the Osprey Farpoint 40. Have you used this in the past? Have you traveled with any of their larger bags? And if you think there are any good bags from them that I should feature on the channel, please let me know in the comments. And I want to go ahead and thank the company again for sending the bag for me to test out. And if you guys found this video useful, please go ahead and give us a like. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And thank you guys so much.